The growth mindset answer that sounds great, but fails the as appropriate interviewer. Most candidates describe the mistake clearly, jump straight to the fix, and never give the interviewer any evidence that their actual process changed. And that is exactly the gap Microsoft interviewers are trained to probe. The question is, tell me about a time you received critical feedback or discovered a significant technical mistake, owned it fully, identified the root cause, changed your approach, and can articulate the specific lesson learned. This question directly tests growth mindset. Microsoft's Learn It All philosophy that is evaluated in every single round of your loop, not just behavioral interviews. What the interviewer is actually listening for is not the story of the mistake. It is concrete, verifiable proof that your engineering process permanently changed because of it. Here is how most candidates answer this growth mindset question. It sounds structured, it sounds honest, and it will get them rejected.
During a back-end refactor, I introduced a caching bug that caused intermittent data inconsistencies in production. My manager flagged it in code review after it had already shipped. I dug into the logs, found the root cause. I had misunderstood the cache invalidation contract for that service, and pushed a fix within the day. I also wrote up a postmortem and shared it with the team. Looking back, I should have tested the edge cases more carefully, and that experience reminded me to always validate my assumptions during code review.
Recovery described. No evidence, personal process, or testing approach changed. Root cause named at surface level. No diagnosis of why assumption was wrong. Postmortem mentioned, but presented as output, not as learning mechanism. Lesson is generic. Validate assumptions lacks any specific behavioral change. Here is what I am writing in the debrief right now. Item 1. Candidate described fix and postmortem. No permanent process change evidenced. Item 2. Root cause diagnosis stopped at symptom. Missing assumption never interrogated. Item 3. Lesson stated abstractly. No concrete change in testing, design, or review behavior. Item 4. No self-diagnosis of why the gap existed. Ownership is surface level, not structural. Verdict. Does not demonstrate growth mindset. Same question, same situation. Listen to how this candidate demonstrates that their process actually changed.
During a back-end refactor, I introduced a cache invalidation bug that caused stale reads for roughly 12% of requests over 2 days before my manager caught it in review. I owned it fully. I had made an undocumented assumption about the invalidation contract without reading the service spec or writing an integration test that would have caught it. The real root cause was not the bug itself. It was that I had a habit of treating internal service contracts as obvious rather than explicit. I drove a systemic fix. I added a required integration test gate to our PR checklist for any service boundary change, wrote the internal guidance doc, and ran a team session on contract first design. 18 months later, that checklist has caught 3 similar issues from other engineers. The lesson was not test more carefully. It was that I was skipping a class of risk entirely, and I needed a mechanism, not just more diligence.
Specific impact quantified, 12% stale reads over 2 days. Root cause diagnosed at behavioral level, not just technical symptom. Permanent mechanism introduced, PR checklist, not personal resolve. Lesson is structural and verifiable. Name the class of risk being skipped. Notice what changed. Not the story, but the depth of self-diagnosis and the mechanism that made the lesson permanent. Item 1. Full ownership with quantified impact. No deflection, no minimization. Item 2. Root cause diagnosed at behavioral level. Named a recurring habit, not a one-time slip. Item 3. Permanent mechanism introduced. PR checklist with cross-team adoption and measurable catch rate. Item 4. Lesson is specific and structural. Identified a skipped risk class, not a vague reminder to be careful. Verdict: strong signal, clear hire. Before your loop, run your story through these 3 questions. Question 1. Can you name the behavioral habit that made this mistake possible? If not, you diagnose the symptom, not the root cause, and the interviewer will know. Question 2. Did you introduce a mechanism or just a personal commitment to try harder? Personal resolve is not evidence of process change. A mechanism is repeatable and verifiable. Question 3. Can you name one concrete thing that is different in how you work today? Without a specific behavioral change, your lesson is a statement, not a proof of growth. If you cannot answer all 3, you do not yet have a growth mindset story. You have a recovery story, and those 2 things read very differently to an as-appropriate interviewer. How do your real stories score? Get a personalized report scored against the interview rubric Microsoft uses for your role. Find it at interview101.com.